Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. Today's video is a primer about Ivy style. We discuss the history, what it contains, how it's different to prep style, and what you can do to incorporate elements of it into your wardrobe. For many people out there, the terms Ivy, prep, or drad blend together in a way that makes it very difficult to distinguish between the three. While there are certain similarities between those styles, the real difference is in how the garments are worn. For example, the prep look is more nautical in appearance and more suited to the beach in Cape Cod or the Hamptons. That being said, last time I was in Cape Cod, it was really disappointing to see how few people actually dressed preppy. Ivy style, on the other hand, is a dressier version that was originally developed in the halls of the Ivy League schools. In terms of historical differences, the prep style has been around since around the 1900s to 1910s, whereas the Ivy style started to really flourish in the 1950s, so much later. Ivy style was born out of an interest to appear more elegant and less casual than the prep culture. Ivy style, on the other hand, was for more formal events, but always with a slightly more casual touch than what people knew from their fathers. Ivy style in particular was a direct reflection of what men would wear at the elite colleges in the US. The Ivy style connoisseur was immediately able to identify a member simply by the way he dressed. Of course, the style wasn't just limited to members of Ivy League schools, but it was also adapted by other people from around the world, specifically in Japan. To them, it was mostly just a slightly more formal version than prep, and because of that, the blending between the two styles became even more. The rest of the world simply saw Ivy style as being more formal than the prep style, and because of that, the blending between the two styles became even more accelerated. So what exactly is Ivy style? At the core, there are just two things. On the one hand, it's you wanting to dress and represent that you're a member of an Ivy League school. On the other hand, you wanted to be a little bit rebellious, maybe against your father, who would put on a formal outfit, and in that same instance, you would dress down your outfit. If he would wear a worsted suit, you would wear a flannel suit. If he would wear a regular silk tie, you would wear a knit tie. If he would wear a solid dress shirt, you would wear a pattern dress shirt, and so forth. So today, one could argue that the differences between Ivy style and prep style are about the degree of formality. Yet in reality, it's more about semantics. While Ivy leaders will opt for penny loafers, prep style followers go for boat shoes. So preps will roll up their pants and wear their shoes without socks as soon as it gets warm enough, whereas Ivy leaguers will usually wear socks and only skip them during the really peak heat of summer. A prep style enthusiast will rarely wear a full suit. Instead, they will go with blazers, sport coats, maybe seersucker pants, Nantucket red chinos, or anything in between. They like to add color, and they're not so much into the suits. Ivy leaguers, on the other hand, still wear suits about half of the time, usually more casual suits, flannel suits, but they also like tweed jackets and combinations, maybe with an elbow patch that gives you a nice old school feel that is still casual, yet more formal, and maybe a little less colorful than the prep style. Some people might argue that prep style is more about comfort and convenience in the first place, with style being the second focus, whereas Ivy style is at first about the style and only then about comfort and convenience. When it came to sports and lifestyle, those two styles were really very closely intertwined. And because of that, it doesn't come as a surprise that the main purveyors of both styles also offered prep style as well as Ivy style. Probably the most identifiable brand of the Ivy style is J-Press. I think today they're Japanese owned, but they still have that very typical Ivy style feel. Back in the day, they were very closely followed by Brooks Brothers. I think today Brooks Brothers has gone more mainstream, but it still contains elements of the prep style and Ivy style. If I had to choose between the two, I'd go with J-Press all the time. So what are typical Ivy style items that you can use in your outfits to get that distinguished look? First of all, I think it's the penny loafer. Introduced by the G.H. Bass Shoe Company in 1936, it became an instant hit with students. It was particularly popular with the Ivy League undergrads because it was much more casual than an Oxford shoe or a Derby, yet at the same time, the ease of just slipping on a loafer paired with the leather texture or even the suede made it the perfect companion to the formal yet somewhat casual Ivy style. The second classic staple in Ivy style is khaki pants or chinos. We had an extensive guide about chinos, which you can check out here, but basically it's pants made out of 100% cotton, usually in earthy tones such as khakis, sometimes olive green, shades in between, sand, or stone. Yes, you can also get them in other colors such as Nantucket red or maybe navy, but those earthy tones are more typical for the Ivy style. They combine well with a blazer, dress shirt, and a tie, or just with a sweater or polo shirt. Originally, they were designed as a pair of business casual trousers that were appropriate for many different events. Compared to wool, they're a little rougher and they wrinkle a little more easily, and because of that, it's the perfect staple for the Ivy style. The third thing to invest in are knit ties. You can either go with silk knit ties in two tones or maybe with a mottled yarn, so you have a multitude of colors. Alternatively, you can look into wool ties or cashmere ties because they provide a softer look and overall still have that element of a tie. So it's that mix between formal and casual. The fourth Ivy style item to invest in is a herringbone tweed sport coat. It can either be a color like oatmeal or something like you can see right here next to me. It's a darker mix and it's perfect for the fall-winter season. Herringbone is very classic and traditional. It's different and visually more interesting than a solid worsted suit. At the same time, it's not a bold window pane. It sits right in that sweet spot. Of course, it also had somewhat of a country appeal, so people who picked up equestrian sports really like the fabric. Also, it doesn't wrinkle very much. It's usually cut a little more roomy, always single-breasted and never double-breasted, and as such, a perfect staple of the Ivy style wardrobe. I suggest you always have either flap pockets or patch pockets, as well as two buttons or a 3-roll 2 jacket front. But if you want to change the buttons slightly larger to underline the casual character of the garment. A typical fall-winter Ivy style combination would consist of a tweed herringbone jacket with maybe a light blue Oxford cloth button-down shirt and some corduroys. To learn more about the OCBD shirt as well as corduroy, please check out our respective guides here. Another detail of an Ivy style jacket were the two buttons on the sleeve cuff of a jacket. Now if you look at most jackets today, you have 4 buttons on the sleeve cuff. If they have 3, usually it indicates it's slightly less formal. 2 is even more casual, and 1 usually is reserved for a rough country jacket. Now, there are no exact rules, and I've seen formal morning coats with 2 buttons on the cuff, but in terms of Ivy style, it became very popular to have 2 cuff buttons because that set you apart from your father, and as such, became an Ivy style staple. Last but not least, another Ivy style staple are school sweaters. Back in the day, in the 50s, those would be heavy knit sweaters in the colors of your school with a big letter in the front. Today, they've become slightly less popular, and you might see them during game days on and off campus to show the support for your school team. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and stay tuned for our trad primer. To get a notification when that's out, please subscribe to our channel so it comes right to your inbox. In today's outfit, you can see me wearing my take on the Ivy style. Rather than a worsted suit, I opted for a flannel suit. And while it's not a true 2-button jacket, it is a 3-roll 2, and it has more casual details, such as a half belt in the back and shooting pleats. Makes it all a little more casual. In terms of cuff buttons, I have 3 that are spaced a little further apart, which underlines a casual character, just in the same way a 2-button cuff jacket would. My dress shirt has a very classic collar with French cuffs for cufflinks, and I opted for a blue pair that is made in England. It has that vintage feel to it, yet it's bolder in color and provides a contrast. Also, instead of a solid dress shirt, I opted for a green and white striped one, and my tie is a knit tie that provides more texture and that mix between formality and casualness. My paisley pocket square picks up the blue color of the tie as well as the color of my shoes and part of that brown houndstooth of the suit, so it's all a harmonious look. For shoes, of course, I only had the option for penny loafers, and I combined them with a shadow strap socks in gray and turquoise, which is kind of a mix between the blue and green. So it picks up the outfit, creates some visual interest on the penny loafer and the shoes. So it's not as formal, but at the same time they're over the calf socks and they're not super casual either. Last but not least, I'm wearing a pink earring with a bloodstone that picks up the green tones in my outfit.